What's going on? I want to thank you for coming by to Vape with a Viking. So today, I got a little bit of goodness for you here. That is the Odin 100. And that, of course, is, I guess, the fourth iteration, or second, depending on how you want to call that one. But it is a mod, single cell 21700 mod from Dovpo, Vaping Bogan, and of course Vaperz Cloud, hence why all of that's right here. Dovpo, Bogan, Vaperz Cloud. So nice little collaboration. Of course, you know them from the Odin full size, which is that dual 21700 DNA 250C mod. Then they came out with the Odin 200, which was the Dovpo non-DNA chip dual 21700. Then they came out with the Odin Mini, which is the 75C DNA evolved chip. And now this, the Odin 100, which is one of Dovpo's chips, non-DNA, but it is an updated / newer chip software set. So it is a little bit different than what you've seen, of course, on like the Topside Dual and Topside and a lot of their devices. So, and just a real quick shout out to Bogan and Dovpo for actually sending me the mod for this review. So thank you so much. You guys know I'm a big Bogan fan anyway. And of course, Dovpo, loved Topsides. Loved them. Destroyed 2 of them at work already. So, yes, officially, the old work Topside Dual that you guys seen me, well, not really seen as much. I talk about it because it's pretty beat up. It finally bit the dust. So, but if you're wondering what's on top of there, that is the Ether, which is another Vaping Bogan collaboration, RTA, mouth to lung, which, depending on how I get the reviews up, you're going to see one of these two first and then the other after. So, watch both. So, it's a great killer setup by Suicide Mods and Bogan on this guy, at least this guy. But before, of course, we get into the dive down and show you how to use it, the ins and outs, the box contents, all that kind of good stuff, we usually go over Viking's Advocacy Minute, kind of laying off on that. So all I'm going to tell you every single time, just because there's so much other things going on right now, is definitely go to Twitter, follow, Bogan, definitely, Matt from Suck My Mod or SMM, Dimitri, Phil, and of course, Grim Green. Go to Twitter, watch them fight, well, support them, but watch them basically be our generals in our vaping advocacy war. Definitely go back those guys up because they're fighting every day for our rights. So let's help them out. But it's that time. So I'm ready. Are you ready? Yeah, we're ready. Just gonna drop the hammer on the Odin 100. Alright, so what I got for you today is a device, of course, that is the Odin 100, which you're going to see on the box. It is a Vaperz Cloud, Vaping Bogan, and Dovpo collaboration. So this is basically number 4 in the line. You had the Odin regular 250C, then you had the Odin 200 non-DNA, you had the Odin Mini, which was a 75C DNA, and now this is the Odin 100 non-DNA version of their single cell iteration here. One of the things I thought was really cool as we look around on the box, you got Bogan, you got Vaperz Cloud, of course a lot of Bogan, Vaperz Cloud, and Dovpo stuff going on there, but it's kind of hard to see. Won't go to the back because a lot of printing, you won't be able to see it, but here, let's see if we can kind of isolate one of these. But starting right here, this is what they call a Jägersphere, or basically a device to see the way. It's a Norse / Icelandic Viking symbol, basically symbolizing a compass. So I thought that was pretty neat of them to put that on there. And then on the back, of course, you got Odin 100, and then you have kind of the story behind it. Odin 100 collaboration, Dovpo, Vaperz Cloud, YouTube reviewer, the Vaping Bogan. So let you read that at your own pleasure. Go ahead and pause there if you want to. Then we're also going to have the package contents, and then Dovpo's contact information, address, UPC, all the warnings, and your scratch and check authenticity code. When we open up the box, on the outside, that same, what you've probably seen for a lot from Dovpo and Vaperz Cloud and all them, is this plain black, little gloss, and some more branding. And on the inside of the box, you're going to get, of course, a QC card from Dovpo. You will get a battery warning card as well, talking about don't use broken skin batteries. Basically, any damages to your wraps, rips, tears, stuff like that. So, and little nice picture there from Dovpo showing what your battery should not look like, or what it should look like. Then you're going to get a Dovpo social media card. Shows all their social media and all that there. Kind of almost like, I would say, Dovpo's business card. Then you're going to get the actual manual itself, which definitely go through there at your leisure. Something we'll just go through real quick, actually looking at the device itself. And just like all the other Odins, you are gonna get this cool little package of battery wraps, and Dovpo's been really good about doing that. Well, Dovpo, Vaperz Cloud, Bogan, to do this with theirs, because as you know, with any of the Odins, you have, of course, these side slits. So you're gonna be able to see your batteries in there, and this, of course, is the Odin full-size original, the DNA 250C, with my little custom channel wrap on there. So those battery wraps, you're just, if you want to, you can put them on your battery, because you will be able to see them through those venting slits, whatever you want to call those, to, you know, possibly match it up with, you know, blue. They put in red, and just to maybe even give a offsetting color pop to your batteries. And then, of course, you are going to get a charge cable, which, you know, like any other device, like I tell everybody, if the battery is able to come out, definitely charge that on an exterior charger. It's just overall better for your battery. And at least with this one, it's a really nice cable. So Dovpo did a really good job of not just throwing some little goofy rubber one. This has actually got some nylon braiding to it. Got kind of almost like a rose gold finish, but it's a very, very sturdy cable. But it is, you can see here, it is USB-C, so that is definitely one major advantage of the Odin 100 being C-type charging. And of course, a little cable management thing. So really nice little feature there, even if it's just for your phone. And then, of course, here's the device itself. So very, very reminiscent, of course, of the original Odin series. You still got Bogan's skull logo right here. And then I keep the screen protectors on there. It tends to make it look not as good, but I know my screen's not gonna get all scratched up. Now, one thing that is gonna possibly mess with you right out the gate is we're always used to DNAs having these 3 buttons. And then, of course, your fire button. This isn't a DNA, even though it does still have the same configuration of 3 buttons and a fire. But we'll get to that. And of course, you'll see a difference. This was the old USB charging. This is the C version charging. But back on top, we do have that spring-loaded 510 pin, and it does have those little beveled edges. I wouldn't call them cutouts. The angle on this one's a little steeper than it was, of course, on the bigger Odin, but these back ones are almost identical. What that kind of does for you is it doesn't give you that block-off appearance. So even if you are technically using a atomizer oversized, it's not going to look as bad because of those, in my opinion. And we'll show a couple atomizers on here in just a sec so you can see. And of course, at the bottom, as usual, you're going to have your serial number. I got 411, Dovpo, warnings, Vaperz Cloud, and of course, Bogan. And just like all the originals, you just take and pull it back, and then it just comes right down here. Then on the swing door itself, you'll see there is a white marked negative. So you want to put your batteries where it's negative down, positive up. And then on the inside, you will have probably one of the nicest battery adapters I have ever seen on a product. It's just a Dovpo battery adapter to go to 18650, but nice branding and, you know, really nice material. This is probably literally the best battery sleeve adapter I've ever seen. And of course, down on the inside, there is not a indicator for your positive. Some of them will put like a white sticker with a red positive, or you know, something down there to indicate where the orientation is, but literally that's good enough in my opinion. You have one indicator and it's not black on black, it's at least white marked off, so you should not have an issue with that. So we're gonna go ahead and put a 40T, because it is a regulated device, so I use my 40Ts in there for that. And then you'll want to push down and then in, and you'll have the screen there. And before we get into that, we'll take a look at, here's some different size atomizers we'll throw on there. So this, of course, is the Ether, which I'm not sure what order they'll be uploaded in, but you'll either get to see the Ether first or the Odin 100 first, or vice versa. So if you haven't seen this one and you're watching this one, go back and watch this one. if you've seen this one, but haven't seen this one, well, you're watching it, so. So this, of course, is what a 24mm RTA will look like on there. Still plenty of room. And this will be the Pandemic by Unicorn, which probably just saw last weekend. And that is a 26. And if you look at 26, not a single problem at all. You still even have room, and you're still behind those divots or cutouts. So let's get serious. Let's get a little crazy here. Let's look at the Asgard full size, not the 25mm mini. We're gonna look at the Asgard 30, which you know I use a ton of. Well, both Asgards really. If you look, it fits. It oddly fits. I mean, it is to the line. There is not a gap there at all. There's no overhang, but it does overhang a little bit on that cut, and of course it will overhang. Well, I was going to say it overhangs on the back end, but it really doesn't. It almost pretty much gets right up to where they start cutting down. So yeah, I don't know if any other reviewers done it. If not, here you go. You saw it first. This is the Odin 100 non-DNA mini with an Asgard 30mm on there. There you go. But for the rest of this, we'll definitely put the ether on there because that's what I've been running on it primarily. All right, so into the menu functions. So you have your up and down, and that's for your wattages there. And then you have your amperage. You will have your voltage. You will have your ohms. So right now it's reading at like a 0.59. But with their new chip 1, you'll see, like you saw going up and down, it is a very, very fast scroll chip. And of course up here it tells you you're in your wattage. But if you hold down the middle button, the menu pops up. You'll have your power setting, which is your wattage. Then you have your bypass, which is going to be kind of, you would almost call semi-regulated, I guess, but it's going to try to utilize the power left in your battery. And then you have temperature control. You have nickel, then you have titanium, stainless steel, your TCRs, your stats, which is basically just going to be your puff counter, your brightness, and then of course your exit. So let's go into brightness here real quick, because that could be messing with my autofocus a little bit. It might be a little too bright. It works out a little bit better. So there you go. So you got your adjustments level there, and you just hit the center and it goes back to your main. Hold it back down again, and we can go into temperature control, stainless steel. It's going to ask you, of course, what your new atomizer is. And if you go up, it's going to go directly into your Celsius. So it kind of round robins between Celsius and Fahrenheit. And there you go. And for temperature control, so your preheat, we're not going to go into it a whole lot, but your wattage right here is your preheat. So to get into that, you hit that center 3 times. And now you can adjust your preheat wattage. So just a real quick rundown of temperature control. There's a couple things that you need to do. One, you need to lock your resistance, which this one seems like their chip does that automatically. But you also want to set your wattage, and then of course your temperature is your actual, I guess, final adjustment. But basically what that's going to do is, based on your ohms, you set your wattage to how much power can the device use to get to whatever your temperature is. So if you're using some pretty thin wire that can only take 20 watts, you want to set that probably to 20 or maybe even under. But then as you adjust your temperature up and down, it will still only go to that certain max of wattage to get to that temperature. So that's what temperature control tends to confuse people. You lock your ohms, you put your wattage to basically how fast or how slowly you want to get to your temperature. And really that's all there is to it. And it does, in my opinion, have a lot of advantages. You can get more and different flavors out of a juice messing with the temperature than you can in wattage, in my opinion. All right, so if you hold the center and down button, that is going to give you your lock screen, so your keys will be locked. Hold them again, and now they're unlocked. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put this in bypass mode, because this coil I got in here is doing really well in bypass mode. Yeah, so let's go and go back up top and give you some pros, cons, where to find it, how much, and final thoughts on the Odin 100. All right, we are back up with the Odin 100 mod from the three-way collaboration there. Yeah, I said it. Anyway, so go over some particulars. First off, like I said, it is a 21700 device, but it does have an adapter for an 18650 single cell non-DNA chip. And of course, you can get it for, I've seen it now anywhere from, I think I even saw one side all the way down to 65, but it's more in the 70 to almost $80 range, just depending on where you go. Of course, because YouTube rules are changing every single day, it seems. Can't put any links in the description where to get it, but just go to Google, Odin 100 watt, you get it. So, of course, not only do you have just the cool little customizations you do with the battery wraps, either on your own or the ones that they provide, I did also grab a picture real quick to show you what all the different finishes are. So they do have gunmetal, matte black, red, black, and basically a silver, which I think their first iteration was supposed to be a brush silver, and it still might be. I'm not sure if that picture is 100% up to date. But the silver, I think, I'm pretty sure it's a brush, so I think that picture might be a little off. And of course, they do highlight that engraving a little bit better on that picture than what it does look like in person. But at least you know there's some different color options like those available. So, pros and cons. Let's go over the pros, even though, man, cons, I'm going to tell you right now, not just because it's Dovpo, not just because it's Bogan, not because it's Vaperz Cloud. I reached and searched. We might not find any. I'm just telling you that right now. So definitely pros. The button, you know, I even like it on the original DNA 250. I do like the button. It's got, some people say it's got a little bit of play or squish or whatever, and it's like, well, it's not a mech, you know. I like it. The fact that his Bogan skull on there gives it at least a little bit of a tactile feel, like it's not just a flat button. You can feel that, hey, I'm on the button. I definitely, okay, there will be a con. There we go. I like the fact it's very small, very form factor. It fits really nice in the hand, very easy. It's great in my opinion for, like, you know, especially MTL tanks. I even run the Blotto on it every once in a while as well. Nice chipset in there. Everything's nice and responsive, fast firing, fast scrolling, round robin in. There we go. We'll leave that in there. But you know, it's just very, very fast on that, very accurate. Really haven't had a lot of issues with the function of it, and of course the form factor. Love the form factor. It's even just a standard stock wrap, you know, for a 40T, which is kind of a bluish purple, still doesn't even look bad in there. So the door itself, I can definitely tell is going to be like the DNA version. It is nice, sturdy, and if for some odd reason it does start to lose a little bit of, I guess, of its snappiness or being clean, if it starts getting a little sloppy, those two little flathead screws, just a little quick tighten, and boom, it's back to new. Yeah, so just lots and lots of pros. Lots and lots of pros. The probably, like I said, the two cons per se, and they're so subjective. Oh, sorry, pro. USB-C type charging. Hello? Or updating. Do not charge your battery in there unless you absolutely have to. But my two cons would probably be the buttons themselves here, the three, because the fact that some might not watch reviews or even read the manual, they might think this is a DNA, which that's a really goofy subjective con. But even like with the Hydron from Steam Crave, that was one con I had on that, is I wish these were marked. You know, like this was plus, this was minus, this is select, or something like that. Now, if you're used to DNAs, you know, without even looking, I know what's what. But if you're new to a DNA, or you didn't read the manual to this and instinctively know up, down, select, it could be kind of confusing. So, like I said, still subjective. The other one would be their chipset. I do temperature control. I probably am one of the few people out there that still even know how to do it, what it is, why they do it, enjoy it, any of that. The fact that you can't essentially manually lock, that I have seen manually lock your resistance in because you want to lock it as a cold resistance, That to me is kind of a con, just because, I don't know, maybe that's just a weird con because it's a self-control thing. Like, I want to make sure I locked it in when I wanted to, not just the chip doing it on its own. So like I said, really weird subjective con. I did run it in temperature control. It did not seem to really make that much of a difference. So it's probably just a personal weird thing of mine. But if you watch my content, you know, that's a thing. Weird. So, but yeah, so I don't know, like I said, it's just, it seems to work perfectly fine. So it's probably just a me thing. So, but there might be a couple of you out there that might share that opinion. So now you know. But yeah, overall though, definitely a single cell 21700 device that you need is this. Definitely this. And if you're a huge fan of DNA chips, go with the regular Odin Mini, because that's going to be a 75C, and that's a great chipset. Love that set too. So, but yeah, again, want to definitely thank Dovpo and of course the Vaping effing Bogan for sending me this for the purpose of this review. Thank you both so very much. So, but that's all I got today for the Odin 100. Just want to thank each and every one of you yet again for coming to Vape with a Viking, and I'll check you later.